everyone. This is just a few of the items you need to do resin. Just a few. What we're going to start off with is we need always to have isopropyl alcohol. Always. It's good for cleaning resin off your tools and off your surfaces that it's not supposed to be on. I only have 91% isopropyl alcohol because I could not find a 99%. So you just have to wait a little bit longer for it to dissipate than you would a 99% because there's a little bit of water more than you really want to use for spraying on top of your resin. So do not use 91% isopropyl alcohol on your resin. You use only 99% on top of your resin to dissipate your bubbles, which no brand on this planet is absolutely 100% bubble free. Don't let them fool you. You will always have micro bubbles. And it's something that you just need to learn how to wait and let bubbles rise. Make sure you scrape around the edges of your mold on the inside. And if you're using mica powders, doing that will dislodge your mica powders from your mold. So it's kind of a ippy trade-off situation. Don't go deep and just lightly touch the bubble surfaces. You probably won't see them if you've got colored resin. So best to always just know that you just might get a couple bubbles where you don't want them to be. Next, I carry myself a sprayer bottle of soapy water so that my hands can be washed at my station prior to doing resin or handling molds or things that's going to go into resin, so that I don't have the oils from my hands getting me in trouble with the resin, because resin and water and resin and oil don't agree with each other. So this is a soapy spray bottle. And then I have plain, ordinary tap water that has been filtered for rinsing my hands. The next thing you're going to need, and this is one of the more important things, is a pair of gloves. Now, if you are sensitive to latex, you get these. These are nitrile gloves. Your hands will sweat in them. Some of them are very thin, which doesn't help a whole lot when they break through, but you're not going to be using your fingernails or anything else within the resin. So these will do. Otherwise, you would want to use something like a finger cot. Now I'll show you what those are. I'm going to open this package here. Now this package here is full of things I've purchased from different places. So I've got a lot of different tools in here. These are finger cots. These go over your fingers, and you can put them on either before the gloves, which is smart because then they don't have the tendency to come off, or after you have the gloves on. This will help protect if you have fingernails. So that's one of those things you might want to think about getting. You don't have to. It's not completely necessary, but as you can tell, I have some fingernails, and They do chip a lot. You can tell I was wearing gloves when I was painting the other day, and I still have paint where the gloves tore, and I ended up with paint on the inside of my gloves. So those are the finger cuts. Next, but absolutely the most important thing that you need when you are doing a resin job is this mask. This is a respirator. It covers your nose and your mouth, and it has filters on either side. Now, this respirator does not allow you to talk while using it because it sounds muffled and you sound extremely like Darth Vader. So, Luke, I am your father. This has to form-fit your face, and so therefore they have this inner suction area. Once this is fitted to your face and this is properly adjusted and the neck piece here is properly adjusted, then you are safe from any toxins from the resin or its hardener, or even your mica powders, because your mica powders do not need to be breathed in. They do collect in your lungs, and you will come up with some horrendous lung disease. It may take a couple years or so down the line, but you really don't want to have your lungs compromised. All right, so now that we've got those important safety issues out of the way, you should also wear a pair of goggles. Now, I wear glasses, and my goggles barely fit over my prescription eyewear. They do sell masks or respirators that allow voice clarity, and they have the full face masks, that respirator masks that allow for eyewear as well, for, you know, people that are a little bit up there in age like myself and have excuse me, have visual problems. Now, a lot of people use what's called a kitchen scale. This is the Ozeri brand. It didn't cost a whole lot. I purchased it from Amazon, and it is pretty accurate. Myself, I probably will not be using it because the resin I use is by volume, not weight. And yes, you could probably figure out how much your resin, your Part A resin, weighs at a certain volume, and how much your hardener, Part B, weighs at that same volume, and then you could go ahead and use it as per weight instead of volume. I use it by volume because that's how I do things, unless it states it goes by weight. All right. Now, let me see if I can set that down somewhere that's not going to fall down. Well, we'll just put it right back up here for now. A little bit further out of the way. Now you need some resin before we get into the tools. Now this is a brand called Dr. Resin. I've never used it before. It was comparatively inexpensive. And so we are going to see in this video just how well it does. This is by volume. In this kit, it came with Part A, the resin, And part B, the hardener. These are 8-ounce bottles, so you have a total of 16 ounces of resin between the two when it's mixed. In that kit came some really crappy gloves, so I put some nitrile gloves in there. And came with these little stir pots that are marked for measurement in only millimeters, not millimeters, milliliters, and it goes up to 100 milliliters on each one. So between the two, you could make something that is 200 milliliters. However, you would still need to pour both of these into another pot in order to mix them. So you would need something that's at least around 250 milliliters to 300 milliliters for proper incorporation of both parts. Also that came in the kit was a pack of 5 stir sticks. Now these are very small, which is okay because the pots are very small. Alright, so that's your resin out of the way. Cleanups. Let's do that first. Have a stack of either paper towels already separated and made into smaller pieces, or do like I do, buy extremely cheap and inexpensive napkins so that you can clean your tools as you go and your surfaces. Okay, so we've got that, and that's part of the cleanup. Now, you need resin tools. These here are fantastic. These are silicone brushes. They are meant to keep your silicone kind of almost bubble-free at the edges. But you must also understand that even though it is silicone, it will still disrupt your mica if you go too hard on it. So you must be really careful with those. Immediately wipe them off when you're done. They clean up easily with the alcohol spray. Then I have what are known as dotting tools. Now these dotting tools, these are a little bit better to use on your molds when they are either silicone, which they really don't have a silicone dotting tool that I have found yet, but these are metal. You don't want dotting tools that are plastic because most of them have ridges on them that are kind of sharp, so they will scratch your mold and do bad things to it. Now, I have one that's got a size that won't do anything more than help dislodge the bubbles, but still there's the risk of dislodging your mica powder. Okay, so we've covered the stir sticks for stirring. Now when you're using it for a larger batch, you will want larger stir sticks. These are almost 6-inch tongue depressors. Now they're bought. I bought them in a pack of 100. No, pack of 500. Wasn't expensive. It was like $15, $20, somewhere around in there. I don't know. It's been a while since I purchased them. These are great for stirring paints, your silicone, for silicone molds, your resin, and pretty much in general doing all kinds of projects. These you use in the larger pots. Now I'll show you one of the larger pots. This one here is a 250 milliliter stirring pot. It is made of silicone. It has ounces, so it's got 1 cup, 8 ounces, or 8 ounces. Then on the other side, it has the milliliters of 250 at the most. This would be perfect to stir those other 2 pots in. Okay, and then I do have this one here. I believe it's around for 100 mil. It is also silicone. It is squishy, which is awesome because that helps your pouring. Gives you better accuracy. And then we have, for other purposes, like if you're doing small amounts that you only want a small amount of resin and you want it colored, different colors, I have these awesome little 10 mil, I believe they are, pots that you just pour a little bit of resin in and then you add your coloration, whether it's mica powder or alcohol inks or resin dye. Just remember, no water needs to be anywhere near your resin. It will not cure. It will do bad things. Now, excuse me again. As you can tell, I have many of them, and I have another pack in here because I'm one of those people that really seriously, if I don't have my items in plenty, so that as I'm doing projects and think, oh my goodness, I've got another project I want to do at the same time, or at least close to the same time, or during cures, before my other items have been cleaned, then you really need a ton of them. But as far as these silicone ones, if you have resin in them when you're done, you can set these aside and the resin will cure in them, and then you can just peel it right out. Okay, now I got some other items in a kit that I probably will never use. These are a small spatula. I don't know, the light's shining too much on that, but this one is a small spatula, and this one is also a small spatula, but it is curved, and it's a spoon type situation. Now, these are very tiny. This one would be for like pulling your mica out of the jar in small amounts, and this would be for stirring it in small pots. But since they are metal, they will definitely scratch your silicone pots, which the more damage to your pots, the more useless they become. I also had gotten this in the one kit. These are silicone stir spoons. Now, I don't know how well these do, but I'm probably going to try one out in the next part of this video. So I'm setting it aside, and I'm going to go ahead and grab these other 2 items and get those put away. Also in the kit, I ended up getting some more stir sticks. These are the smaller style, but yeah, they're just the same ones. So I have a few tiny ones. I do need to find some more this size and this width, because I do like to do smaller projects a lot. Now, I did purchase some things that, well, excuse me, before I forget. These are not called pipettes, they are called pipettes. They are marked in milliliters on both sides. These are very useful for drawing resin up into, and then that way you have small amounts and greater control when you pour into a mold where there's very small channels to get into. You must be careful not to draw up 2 or 3 times into it, because that introduces bubbles into your resin. And of course, bubbles are bad. I won't be using these because the molds I'm going to be using do not require that. Now you need something to apply your resin to your mold. Well, this is what I have for measuring my mica. Before I get to those, this is awesome. These are a 1/16 spoon and are great for dipping in and getting just enough resin. Mica powder. And so you could also use them on the flip side and use them to stir with, because they have that kind of tip. So I'm setting those aside because I will be using some mica powder. Those were inexpensive on Amazon. Oh, excuse me, they're 1/32 teaspoons. So I have 1/16. Next, we're going to cover your tools you need for applying your mica powders before we get to the mica powders. My plan is, see, I don't like wasting powder because that stuff is extremely expensive, especially with the different brands. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but most of us don't have $1 billion to buy all this stuff with. A lot of this has been accumulated over a few months because it's all come out of my own money. Okay, my husband's money. He's the one that works. I retired many years ago because I have bad eyesight. Now, this is a round makeup brush, and it has shorter bristles. And that's what I look for, because it will not keep your mica powder as much as, say, a longer, fatter, wider one will. It is flat-tipped, and therefore will be stiffer and be able to release your mica powder. Now, this is a set of makeup brushes that I bought because I was looking for something I could absolutely use to apply mica powder. I don't wear makeup. It's just not my thing. I stopped wearing it probably, I don't know, 20 years ago. The next ones that are really good for applying mica powder are these sponge ones that eyeshadow usually is used with to apply to your eyes. Now, I'm happy that I have 3 of them because these 3, if you're using different colored micas, you do not want to have them mixed together. So you need a clean applicator for each mica you're going to use. So I'm not sure how many micas I'm going to use at this time, so I'm going to keep all 3 out for now. And this kit will now be rolled up and put aside. This kit is inexpensive-ish on Amazon. I can't remember exactly what it cost because, well, like I said, it's taken me months to accumulate items that I've wanted. So we'll get this rolled up and put out of the way. And this is what I like. It came in this handy dandy little pouch keeper. So we just roll it all back up. Sorry, it's taking a little bit of extra time to do this, but better to have them clean and put away than dirty and have to be cleaned before you can use them again. Now, as you can see, I have a thermometer in here in my room because resin is best at room temperature when your room happens to be around 78 to 84 degrees. Well, I melt past 76. Although this year, I guess my age is catching up to me, and it seems like 80 degrees is not warm enough at times. Alright, that's now done out of the way. Now, other applicators are these micro brushes. These are usually meant for makeup, but these are great for if you're not using mica to use to get rid of your bubbles. They have little heads on them, kind of like a cotton swab, but a little bit less soft than a cotton swab. And I got a pack of, gosh, I think it was 200 or 250 for very, very inexpensively. And that was on Amazon as well. Alright, now we're going to dive into the additives, so to speak. Your colorants. Your colorants, first off, are alcohol inks, resin dyes, and mica powders, and metallic powders. Now, this is from a company called Resin. It is lavender is what they call it. Now, it almost has a purple hue to it. But when I mixed it for paint and then mixed it for making my own alcohol ink from it, it actually turned kind of a weird golden brown. I can't see any purple in it. Let me see if I can find the bottle. And it's got maybe a small purple hue, but as you can tell, it is mostly a brown, a golden brown color. So I don't know if they put it in the wrong bottle or not, but it does state lavender on there. Now, it is a metallic powder, not a mica powder. And there is a bit of a difference. Well, it's because it's metallic. I don't know exactly what the process is between the two, but they are different. Then we have the other mica powder, the mica powders itself. This is from a brand called About. It has 24 colors in it. It came with 4 of these little dispensing spoons. So, I will probably utilize those as well because I'm going to be utilizing a few different colors of mica powder. I'm not sure exactly how these colors work, these powders. I do know that they have some really nice colors. They've got white, of course. Almost all of your mica powders kits have white. There's also a black in here. But this one isn't exactly black. It's actually silver. Where did I put the black at? I do not know. Oh, it's right next to it. And as you can tell, the silver is grayish, the black is black. I know the light is shining on it, so I'll try to get a little bit higher. Alright, so I'm not sure what colors I'm going to use. This here is from a brand called HTV Ront. Now they are a company that sells vinyl for Cricut machines or other cutting machines, but they sell sublimation papers and inks and things like that as well, for like if you're into making t-shirts and tumblers and things like that. Now these inks, I haven't tried them yet, but they are alcohol inks, and you do need to shake, 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 and shake them little guys up for every time you're going to use them. This incorporates the pigment back into the alcohol for spread. Now, everybody talks about the white pigment paste that people use for making ocean waves. HTV Ront does sell a white pigment, and I haven't used it yet. I probably will not be using it in this project, but it does state white resin for waves and water effects. Okay, so that's the inks, and this is a paste. It is not an ink. It doesn't have alcohol in it. It is just a paste. It is in a dropper bottle, which I'm not too sure how they get that paste out of there, but I will experiment with it later on. And then, other than alcohol inks for coloration and mica powders, there are resin dyes. This is from a brand called Hippo. I hope I said that right, because it's got a hippo on it, so I guess it's hippo. These came in, as you can see, a pack of 24. They're 10 ml bottles. They come with disposable gloves, and they do tell you to wear them. On the package it says, "Please wear me disposable gloves." Anytime you are working with alcohol inks, resin, dyes, you want to wear your gloves because you can develop allergies even if you've never had it before. I just got through watching a video from Steve McDonald on YouTube, and he showed that how a few years ago, just a couple years into his resin videos, his crafting videos, that he ended up with a severe allergy development for resin. So he ended up having to go through a lot of treatment trying to rectify the health problems he had at the time. And so, yes, I agree with him absolutely. When you are doing this, use your PPE, your personal protection equipment, your respirator, your gloves, protective gear on your face, for your eyes, long sleeves, pants, and shoes and socks that go up under your pants. You want to protect your skin as well as your lungs and your eyes. Yes, it sounds scary. I know. But we all do what we do. Just don't do it without proper equipment. Now, these are alcohol inks. Well, you gotta shake, or not inks, but you gotta dyes. And you gotta shake these as well. You just have to. It's just important because things like this do separate in the bottle when you don't use them for a while. Now it's going to create bubbles, so you shake each one you're going to use and set it aside. Let the bubbles dissipate a little bit before you use it, because otherwise they will have a tendency to spit out instead of drop out. Alright, that covers the colorants. Now I do have other things that are additives, but they're not going to go in this project. I will cover those in a future video when I go to use them. And then, as you can tell, it is now 82 degrees inside my art room at the area I'm working, my table. So it is the perfect time to resin, which I'm not going to do just yet. I know it is late right now, and my husband's going to have to go to bed soon. And I kind of encroached upon his time before bed to come and just sit and listen to me babble on. These are what I'm going to be using. Now I'm going to open this, but I won't pull it out just yet because I have not washed the oils from my hand just yet. They build up while you sit. So, first thing you do, start squirting that soapy water onto your hands. I do have a trash can next to me, into which I do my spraying, so that I'm not spraying it all over my house or my floors. I can imagine just what the soap residue buildup would be if it was not cleaned right away properly. Now what I do is I go ahead and grab one of these napkins and I wipe the soap a little bit off. This helps to remove the oil. You want to make sure you remove that oil. Then you go ahead and grab your water, your plain water. Oops. Let's grab the plain water, not the soapy water. Okay, and then you spray until your hands feel clean. Make sure you rub your fingertips, because your fingertips produce more oil than your palms. Now again, you just grab another napkin. Now you can either throw this one away or hold on to it and not waste, because this has only got your clean water on it now. Make sure that all water is pulled away from your skin. Ooh, hiccups. And these little guys are gnomes. I picked these up inexpensive enough on Amazon. Everybody's into the gnome craze. These will not be able to be separated, which unfortunately, I really wanted to be able to do that. But they are very thinly packaged together, built together, and if you were to cut into in between them, you would destroy one or the other of the mold, perhaps even both. I've never opened these because I waited for all my resin supplies to get together. And I'm very sorry about the crinkly noise. I know, it drives even me crazy. So I try not to have to do that while I'm doing the video. But as you can tell, they are really close together. There is no way to separate them. So you do one or the other and you just do them. That's all you do. Or you do them all. One has, a lot of them are just honey and spring related, with bees and honey pots and flowers. I was looking for spring related, and I guess the weather decided that spring wasn't going to spring for a while. And so I kind of held off doing these projects because my house was just too cold inside to do. Now, these little guys, there are 8 in total, and they are meant to be key rings. It's got little, I don't really know what the technical term is, but I call them stubbies in order to create the hole for the key ring to go through. All right, everyone. I will not get to this just right now. That is for a very close to follow future video. I would like to thank you for visiting my channel and sitting through this probably very incredibly long video. If you like my channel and this video, please subscribe. It helps get it out to others that are just starting out. And as a matter of fact, I am just really starting out. This is actually my second resin project coming up. The first one was kind of an absolute fail. It was trying to top coat a painting and 2 coasters, but I had used silicone oil in my paints to create cells, and it really was a disaster. I thought the painting and coasters were cleaned properly, but they weren't, and so I ended up with what's known as fish eyes, which is basically where there's holes and pits throughout areas of the painting and the coasters where the resin pulled away from the oils. So yes, this is my actual resin project, my very first one coming up. So I wanted to cover all the basics first. That way people know to expect a little bit of cost involved and a little bit of time, especially if you're not, you know, J.D. Rockefeller or Got Rocks or whatever. It's a hobby for me. I don't ever expect to make money out of it. I don't really sell anything. I give almost everything away because it's just something to fill my time and make me happy. And I think my husband might get, be getting just a little, are you ever going to do anything real type of situation, attitude. But yes, if you could please subscribe to my channel, like the video if you like what's in it. Please give a comment. Tell me how you think this video went, what could have been added to it or subtracted from it. Any helpful criticism is absolutely wanted, because like I said, I'm new at the resin game. Now, also, if you think this is helpful, please share to your friends. I want to thank you again for sitting through the time it took to get this video done. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.